If there's nothing better to do, we could go foraging for ingredients. What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing. Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the stands. Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that...
Well, now, don't you all look disappointed? That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof, but don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial... Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Miss...
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take... You ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the...
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what...
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time.
And you didn't hear anything else at all?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so...
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box, and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those be...
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my founding... Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the house...
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatsui's doing.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with...
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infight. Oh, good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Linny, why didn't you tell us this before?
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to reestablish the facts. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, are these claims true? Please answer my question.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're all.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to do?
Order! Order, I said! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do? In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, sorry. Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad!
I'm very sorry. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spend... Right. So, you be the judge. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster, but still, I'm asking you to trust me.
Sorry. Please forgive us. Well, you both say that, but... Right. Let's hear your answer first, and no lie...
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
The audience would take about 75 seconds, so after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House.
That air vent was created during the construction of the
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard... Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution, and on the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground. But the countdown was almost... After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense. Huh? Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue...
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend at this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. Countdown began. He entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he did not realize that the sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed Finally, he used the vase to knock her out before making her change clothes to prevent others from... At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, So Linney proceeded to knock him out too Afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice... And there you have it.
Does the defendant's side have any objection?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. Seems this won't produce a particular... Seems this... Seems this... Seems that... Seems this won't... According to Linney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Seems this won't produce a particularly... Seems this won't... Linney went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. Seems that... Seems this... Lenny did not take part in the underground altercation.
Attention! When the countdown started, Lenny did indeed, but he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where, once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been the crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. And in order to complete the magic finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that!
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup, assuming that what you say is true? Lenny only needed to kidnap the young girl.
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him!
And that's why they're partners. Oh, well, your denial is very strident. I'll give you that. But, of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, you're saying that he wasn't?
Are you sure we don't need to give this more thought? Are you sure we don't need to give this more thought? I'm at the... That's right! Lenny wasn't in the box. This means that when the crime happened, the same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become...
Well played. To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Lenny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. He...
That can't be right.
Oh, is that...
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator... No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. So where would... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some... The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrance. The deceased's name is Cowl, Linny's assistant. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. The deceased's name is Cowl, Linny's assistant. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrance. No one entered or left the. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring?
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff.
Look, since we're at a dead end, just like the trick as it transpired, the end.
If only we knew how Halsey.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only had. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowl, Linny's assistant. The vase was not broken by chance. It...
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving all. If there's a similar method where.
Oh, just a moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is. Must we really? I should think that of magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappear.
Even so, I trust the Traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased Cowell.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. Fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that
The primordial sea.
the note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword one of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely, as such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact,
You gotta be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means? Wait just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effect. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit guards. Please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by...
Of course. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case is seemingly
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism. The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and snapped. As such, the focus here is on the water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey entered the magic box. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another... The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the firework. The water from the primordial sea should already... The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. The water from the primordial sea Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have some... I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box.
It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would when the balloon attached to the box. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
That note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea.
What?
Hello.
That can't be. Does this not clear all doubt? My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close. Linny did not need, he did leave the scene via the vent.
ये बड़ा confusing है.
Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his... Ultimately, he knocked Cowl out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is... Am I right?
हमारे पीछे पड़ी हुई है मतलब लेने के.
Is this the end of the road?
Oh no! I'm okay. The water as new evidence was...
I think we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout and to...
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the...
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance?
कुछ भी करो जो सच में होगा वही
Lady
होगा.
and Lynette, give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf. But as the magic makers and
काम
stars
के
of the
आगे है ये
show,
दोनों.
I think I should leave the final performance to you.
I understand.
And voila.
What?
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. And then before I knew it, she caught...
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry.
क्या?
I'm
ये
the
कैसा
one who
plot
killed
twist है
Cowl.
केस में?
I admit it.
What? Why?
Exactly करें ना.
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I
Oh.
heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one.
Hi,
That's how I make a
Pixie.
living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught
Oh,
before.
okay.
But I was noticed at
Okay.
the harbor a few days ago,
तो
and
फिर
I
हुआ
barely
क्या
got
था
away.
एक्चुअली में?
Lenny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was onto me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then
ठीक है,
someone
टेक्स्ट
jumped into
करना.
the tunnel to nab me.
मतलब
I
टेक्स्ट
wasn't
कर
going to take
सकती हो,
that
अभी
lying
भी मैं
down,
देख सकती
so
हूँ.
I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
अरे,
But I swear I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it.
कुछ
Had I
ज़्यादा
known
ही
that,
ऐसे
I
एकदम
wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no
रॉयल्टी जैसा
killer.
ड्रेस पहन के
Well,
घूमती
that
है.
makes everything
रॉयल्टी भी नहीं
clear
बोलूंगी क्या,
now,
वैसे
doesn't it?
विक्टोरियन एरा वाला कपड़ा पहने हैं, लग रहा है मुझे तो.
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lily-Ann's perspective.
फिर से मैं लॉयर नहीं बन सकती भाई. Let me enter the tunnel. ये था क्या ये वाला? क्या हम लोग कर रहे हैं?
Seems
Okay.
this one.
किसी तरह ये कर लेते हैं क्योंकि मुझे तो समझ नहीं आ रहा.
Seems this won't produce. Seems this.
अच्छे से हम लोग केस पढ़े ही नहीं है, इसलिए हम लोग कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे हैं, लग रहा है.
Seems this won't produce a particular.
क्या? Okay.
Seems this won't produce. The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lily-Ann's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but it was smashed during the struggle between Lily-Ann and Cowell.
गेम वाले ट्रेनिंग दे रहे हैं केस लड़ने की. अरे लिलियन कोयला कैसे बोल रहा है? Then using the method used to dissolve young girls. हाहा. यहाँ तो मुझे लग नहीं रहा कुछ है. ये बोल सकते हैं. अरे
Seems. Hmm. See. See.
कुछ तो बचा ही नहीं है अब तो। क्या करूं यार, अब क्या करूं? क्या करूं मैं? लूपहोल तो कुछ है नहीं यहाँ पर। दोनों में से कोई यूज नहीं हो रहा है।
Seems this. Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid,
तुक्का मार रहे
biding
हैं।
her time.
तुक्का मार के पास केस जीत रहे हैं हम लोग।
Experienced thief.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time!
ये मेरी तरह टेक्स्ट करती दिख रहा है।
Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect. He tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came with no way of escaping. She changed her clothes and hid in the costume.
Okay.
She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So,
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped two of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
Oh, मतलब पाइमोन ने नहीं लिया था extra.
that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the... Bravo! Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish... Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What? Are you reading? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But real...
Wow, look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Liliane was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Liliane. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and Liliane, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Linny and Liliane's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision.
Oratrice. Oh.
As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know.
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yeah? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the...
Yes! Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent mora off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about. The...
Yeah. Exactly
and
what?
now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's true.
Traveler, Paimon, please wait.
Thank you. पर ये तो उससे बड़ा है ना.
I know you may not
अभी
want
के
to
लिए तो
speak to
हम
me right
जीत
now.
गए पर
Maybe
फाइनल
you don't
बॉस
even
कौन
want to
है?
look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end.
तुक्का
Even
मार मार
after
के
you learned that
जीते
I'm a
हैं तो
member,
ये
I guess.
बोलने का तो कोई बात नहीं है
But
बट
regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill
अरे
intent.
हाँ भैया
I've
बच्चे
spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me.
कितना funny.
That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The knave? The one who controls the House of the...
That's right.
Shame your
And
father.
since we're here, I was wondering, back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performance.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first, too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to which he would then use to expand his social circles.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
मारूंगी पाइवान.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
What?
Oh, so he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. All I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the dark.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in the basement, all of them orphans.
Yeah?
Father, I mean, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her, betrayed by nobles, but she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Who have you joined the House of the Hearth?
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Sarita to first use the Gnosis' power once she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis.
इसलिए झोला बांट रही हैं ये लोग.
Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, has their roots in Fontaine, and we will always defend our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis,
It's all right. I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Linny.
Oh, it's the fire वाला है.
Bye, Linny!
चलो चलो यहाँ से बाहर. यहाँ से नहीं निकल सकते क्या? बड़ा मस्त जगह था लेकिन ये.
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro Archon's people to follow now, right?
Ah, I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
कितने
Don't
सुंदर
say
है
that,
यार ये.
Navia.
Ah, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into
She
a
has
stagnant
money.
mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer. Well, sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to nostalgia. Don't mind. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to...
Huh? Do we really need to get that far?
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. That way there are no regrets later. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your...
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss Navia's treating, count Paimon in.
Oh, wonderful. In that case, why don't we return to the Court of Font...
All right, then. Let's have our farewell meal. Race you.
किधर जाना है हमें? Hotel. I'll be back. एक मिनट में.
I came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I hope the food here will be to your taste.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while. Paimon's getting a...
In that case, I'll go order for us first.
Ooh, everything looks so good.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rose.
And if it's not?
Well, then...
Yeah. Oh, we called this a farewell meal.
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Huh? Paimon didn't Speaking of cases...
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it.
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon...
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking. We were so...
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like... To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability. It's just that a different perspective is required in some matters. It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A
a shift in thinking, which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exists. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist. To seep into the cracks where filth falls through. Where there...
Seems Paimon thought things were
It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal, so I doubt you have... Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after...
I see. So, I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina.
Yeah. We've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique...
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock full of sketchy ideas. Well, what did you...
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending, and would agree in order to finish watching the play. Don't you think?
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go learn how to act and act...
All right, here's another. I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm...
That might work, but that's not really the problem. The problem is we don't want to get ourselves arrested.
Valid point. All right, no more joking. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, why don't we give it a try after this meal?
Huh? Paimon, did you drink...
Was this your drink? Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. We're just about...
All right. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fonta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and
Is that so? If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Thanks for the treat, Navia.
What did you want?
Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Nah, that would be so... normal. You know, like you.
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're left...
Hey, Navia! What are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can...
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again. Bye!
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. In any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again, partner.
See ya! Many people around anymore. Looks like that boat we took to Araneas might have been the last one.
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? That's...
Vache?
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? Huh? Hang on. Paimon can... Hey, Traveler? Stop!
No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vache? Wait. My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide, never to be recovered. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I am but the I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water. I also remember going to many places. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. I knew how dearly. But now, we can no longer. No! Our reunion no longer has any meaning. The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the waters. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. Perhaps that is so, as I was submerged in the waters. If only I could have comforted him. Told him that I did not suffer. Is that what you call it? Dissolving. It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy, with only an endless peace, like the waters. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they... I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think. Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence.
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Clorand? Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Clorand.
मैंने कम कर
Could
दिया
you
था
explain
sound.
how you managed?
कॉल ले रही थी.
Followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do the same.
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, demoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that I'd be in grave danger?
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means, deploying them as a private force of sorts.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and do not act rashly.
I will continue investigating no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. That's my father's true last wish. Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clarand. But if you get any ideas, tell me first. I don't much appreciate being followed.
I do not think that, so I shall stop following you. Good day, all.
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clarand was being sincere with you. If we tried, we could attempt to thaw relations a little.
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought them off otherwise.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back there. Not for me, anyway. In truth, as such, we're still partners.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula on account of her goodwill long ago.
All right, you two.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger? You sure did show up in the nick.
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really? Paimon?
Yes. All thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did...
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases that the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors. So how could it have tasted salty? The cup...
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as we speak for saving the boss.
Huh? Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate. But whoever did, that's when I figured out that you might be in danger and hurried here as quickly as I could.
But why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Linny in court and help clear his name.
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of, and almost got their name in the process. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
Well, it can't be a coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. He said that he heard that voice calling for Vache again. Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too, but it was real faint. Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on people who are not from Fontaine?
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
वर्ल्ड क्वेस्ट जो 12 घंटे का है, what?
New intel?
What?
Well, you were out
सही
cold?
में?
Well, let's hear it, shall
नावे
we?
के पापा का केस भी लड़ना पड़ेगा। अरे यार,
Oh,
अरे यार,
that it?
हम लोग अच्छे लॉयर नहीं हैं।
Vache. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward as a witness in court lately. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene. But he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial sea. Yes, thank you. This is very important and... Oh, you mean you'll help us
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. That means we're still part... like it or not. You're not.
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the face of Spina di Rosula, after all.
कैसे मुस्कुरा रही है तुम?
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases, shall we? We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners. But we'll take that one step at a time, I guess.
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely secure.
अभी लड़ नहीं पा रहा था और झूठा वादा कर रहे हैं हमसे। फिर से ये डॉगी दौड़ रहे हैं तब या मछली जो भी है ये क्रीचर इधर से उधर हो रहे हैं लोग कब से। वर्ल्ड क्वेस्ट बहुत बड़े होते हैं। मैं लास्ट टाइम वो चार्ज वाला कर रही थी, वो मैंने खत्म ही नहीं किया। पिक्सी चली गई। ये एक्सप्लोर करना पड़ेगा आगे, बड़ा कंफ्यूजिंग हो जाएगा। नीचे कुछ है?
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Cool है था।
Very good. But let's not let our guard down for now.
मतलब
I
हेयर
shall
स्टाइल
find
अच्छा
rooms for our respected guests.
है। ये तो बहुत
Thank you, Malus.
उम्रदराज है।
Now, let's continue, traveler.
अरे आप कहाँ से स्पॉन हो गए? अच्छा। Where do we have to go? अच्छा इधर से चलते हैं। नीचे ही जाना था हमें, नहीं ना? नीचे जाना था हमें। क्या? लालटेन है यहाँ पर लगी हुई। कैसे जाएंगे? कूदना है? सही में इधर ही जाना है? गिर के मर गया तो? Kitty, hello, hey, kitty. ज़्यादा नीचे आ गए क्या? टेलीपोर्ट पॉइंट तो कहीं दिख नहीं रहा। ये रहा। दादी माँ आप यहाँ पर कैसे? कुछ खास तो नहीं। अंडरग्राउंड सिटी है लेकिन
this is your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
Your accommodations.
Well, Our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago.
Your father... He was the previous boss of Spina di Rosula, right?
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And my father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his... But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If the closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom of that case.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now,
Sad.
here I am investigating his death.
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do, anything at all.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Demoiselle. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed Callus the Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our
Wait! If Callus was such a good man...
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people from Fontaine, really. Everyone's like that. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused, we had...
There is one other thing.
Oh! Her? Well, then... yeah... that's not the sort of thing that you can just let...
Miss Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent doesn't yield, she will not stop either. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but seeing how he was resolute in the arena, there was only ever one choice she could have made.
It's not that I don't understand her at all.
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to do that.
Afterward, Miss Clorand told us that at the start of the duel. Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right. Anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Thanks. You
Yeah! Paimon's...
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly.
slept so well. Huh? Navia?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new...
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for...
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem... I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this Vache person is a key witness in the incident.
Does that mean we're too late though?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine, and that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanette you met is one of the young women who went missing recently,
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. Guess that's the hard... In that case, let's go talk to him, shall...
भाई क्या वो हमसे बात
Coming
करेगा?
along, Navia?
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief Justice.
चीफ जस्टिस को मिलना इतना आसान है क्या? Let's go.
The palais is right up ahead. Come on.
खाना खा लिया तुमने? ये मुझसे पूछ रहे हो?
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official This place does look pretty heavily guarded.
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or...
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can tell. If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please leave if you don't have a reason to be here.
No.
हाँ
What I
मैंने
meant to
शाम
say
को
is,
जल्दी खाना खा लिया.
shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorney.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
We're here on official business. You can trust us.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief...
Thanks so much.
इनसे पेपर नहीं मांगते ये लोग. ओह, नॉक करना है.
Please come in.
Oh my gosh. टाइपराइटर है उसके पास.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Neuvillette. We only like to get in because...
पाइमन
we
फ्रेंच
don't know
बोल
any
रही
other
है.
way.
It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
So you're not mad at us?
We're looking for a man called Vache. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to unearth some key information.
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
Who knew that Neuvillette would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vache has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years. There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, what if it was really just a dream?
Is that so? All right then.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
क्योंकि वो अंदर बैठा हुआ होता है तो हम उससे पूछ रहे होते हैं कि
And what are you trying to say?
क्योंकि फिर वो
Are you
थोड़ा सा
trying to
इंट्रूसिव
console me?
लगेगा ना
Extend your... No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed everything. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. So if you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything. Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Tramon.
It's an awkward situation.
Navia, are you...
I'm fine. Rain.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went...
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder...
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you... that thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait.
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water and then got washed away with the rain? Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get...
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you... Great, let's go then.
नीचे
A huge ship! Why would a ship be anchored at a place like this?
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may look like a ship, it's actually Spina di Rosula's headquarters. My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our tastes in exterior design is the only thing we occasionally had in common. A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition,
इमोशनल तो
and
है इसका
conquest.
केस
It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
पहले देखे कि हुआ क्या स्टोरी पता
When
चले
you said Spina di Rosula had a glorious past, Paima was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers. But now that Paima has seen this ship for herself, she's been convinced.
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all.
अरे ये क्या ग्लिच था हवा में लटके थे हम लोग कुछ कैसे जाए पेट क्यों नहीं कर सकते देख रहे हो देखा ना बाय बाय मिलती हूँ बाद में
They might have it
If you
good.
play with fire, you're gonna
But
get
it ain't
burned.
मस्त जगह है देखो ना क्या मस्त नींद आता है यहाँ पर ऐसे वाटर का आवाज रहता है तो बैकग्राउंड में
Melus, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partner. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson so quickly?
मैटलन में आपको पेट मिलेगा
About that.
अभी तक एक
It's
भी नहीं
because
मिला
my
है मुझे
partner here reminded me of
Hopefully
something
मिले
really important. You still remember, right, Melus? On that night...
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water...
Yes, he did. Considering what we know water from the primordial, if you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extremely dangerous substance. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused to yield. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem once and for all.
Yes, but the
Okay,
enemy was
देखते हैं
very
oh
cunning,
by the way thanks कल
so he could never get anything out of
कोड
the
देने के
dealers,
लिए
all of whom only sold the stuff
मैंने
and weren't
redeem कर लिया
recognizing that. My father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his... The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead.
Huh? How did that happen?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's
It worked.
almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring it all out.
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with zero. I think this third person. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as you're still offer a word of warning. Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult. Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then was I not the closest person to him? What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims, and for myself.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more...
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth and the serial disappearances case. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
मतलब देखती नहीं हूँ ना उनका वो live stream.
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to live, and the serial disappearances case caused him great anxiety. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one for his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina de Rosula about the details. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right, so nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful were still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a sword. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? Take it to where I am now. Yeah. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. Way out. Huh. Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
It's the location where synth is produced.